Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week a bit of muddy fun as Honda gives its passport American SUV a touch of rugged magic with its newest version.
We've also got Audi's latest attempt to break into the Chinese market with a new sub-brand.
Plus a trip in search of some sun with the all-new and all-opulent Rolls-Royce Cullinan Series 2.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
With 2024 in the rearview mirror, automotive safety testing agency Euro NCAP has unveiled the safest cars it tested over the last year. Categorising models based on their segments across the industry, it was the Mercedes E-Class that came out on top with the best overall performance and safety in 2024. The mid-size saloon reportedly fared particularly well in adult occupation protection, child occupant protection, vulnerable road user protection and safety assist technologies. Meanwhile, according to Euro NCAP, it was the as yet unavailable in the UK Zeekr X that claimed the crown for the safest all-electric vehicle, also taking the lead in the small SUV class. The safety testing agency has also named the Mazda CX-80, Volkswagen Passat and Skoda Superb as some of its class leaders throughout 2024.
One of the most profitable markets in the modern day, China is a crucial location that Western manufacturers are eager to conquer. But with very unique requirements, a successful formula here in Europe rarely hits the nail on the head with Chinese customers who tend to prefer longer wheelbase models with low-slung looks over our taller SUVs. And looking to cater as best as possible to these specific demands, German manufacturer Audi is going all in by forming a new China-specific sub-brand. Where Hyundai and Honda have formed Genesis and Acura for the US market, this European carmaker is doing the same but in reverse. And the new brand's name? Audi. It's called Audi, but capitalized and without the Four Rings logo. If you're anything like us, you'll be wondering what the fuss is about, and well, it simply allows the new Audi name to operate from new headquarters in China as it puts together market-specific models, and albeit in concept form, this is the first of them. Dubbed the Audi E, it's an all-electric, low-slung sportback model sitting upon the sub-brand's newly developed advanced digitized platform. Sitting at a length of almost 5 meters, it certainly fits the spacious cabin criteria that will be so crucial to this new carmaker. Moreover, that large cabin gets a minimalistic yet high-tech interior, filled with luxurious materials and this 4K touchscreen surrounding the driver. According to Audi, both the interior and exterior design have been developed around traditional Chinese aesthetic codes, which should help with the production model's uptake. We certainly appreciate the E-Concept's sleek saloon shape and novel front and rear light designs. Though, as you might expect from an elongated model built for the Chinese market, we do think it looks a bit clumsy in the middle. Perhaps we'll stick to our shorter European cars for now.
Combining the tight dimensions of a go-anywhere city car with the feeling of security that comes with a higher driving position, the compact crossover class is currently dominating the UK market. One of the segment's newest additions is the Alfa Romeo Junior, essentially a Peugeot 2008 Stellantis twin with a touch of Italian flair. Visually very muscular and aggressive, with attractive details from most angles, there's no denying that the latest Alfa Romeo model is a looker. But on what is a competitive battleground, it will need more than style to win the hearts of buyers. Available in both hybrid and all-electric form, the newest Alfa does its best to cater to the masses. The most recent addition to the lineup is the Hybrida, a 48-volt mild hybrid model that will no doubt make up the bulk of the sales. It gets 136 brake horsepower from the same 1.2-litre three-cylinder that powers most other Stellantis B SUV models. If you fancy something with less clatter, however, two electric models are available, both of which feature the same 54 kilowatt-hour battery under the floor. At the entry point is the 154 bhp Electrica, getting a shared Stellantis motor, whilst the higher power Veloce sends 280 brake to the front wheels thanks to the Alfa-only tech. Range sits between 250 miles for the regular model and 200 for the full-fat edition. Inside, it's all very stylish and sporty, as you'd expect from an Italian Alfa. Nice hugging seats, cool circular dials and elegant details make up the cabin design. Fit and finish is just as lovely, with nice materials decorating the crucial parts, but only if you get the higher trim Veloce. Otherwise, it's a who's who of Stellantis offcuts. Regardless of the trim level, over 400 litres of boot space places the Alfa among the best in class for practicality.
That's a figure that only a handful of rivals in class can outdo, one of them being the Volkswagen T-Cross. However, it will only reach its 455-litre maximum with the rear seats all the way forward. Slide them back to a position at which your passengers needn't go through amputation to get aboard, and that drops to 385. The rest of the cabin may be on par with the Junior when it comes to space, but it definitely lacks a little pizzazz versus its Italian rival. It's certainly a functional cabin, however, with all the controls you need laid out clearly, something we can't say for the buttonless Junior. On the outside, the T-Cross's casual approach to the design studio continues, as whilst the model got a facelift last year, it's very much still but a Golf on stilts. Though it may not stand out as much as its rival, the Volkswagen gets nice tall ride height for taking on campsite mud and the odd snowy morning. Unlike the Alfa Romeo, the Volkswagen T-Cross doesn't come with any electrified trickery, with most of its offerings based around the same 1-litre 3-pot. Both 95 and 110 brake horsepower models are available, with the latter available with either a manual or automatic transmission. Both offering similar performance and practicality, there's little to separate these two relatively fresh crossovers, except a sense of Italian spice. If that's your thing, it's good news. As while the Junior's Hybrida version is yet to hit the market, we expect it to match the T-Cross's £24,000 starting price.
After the break, Honda puts the utility back into sports utility vehicle.
Welcome back. Coming up, which of these over-the-top SUVs would you remortgage your house for?
In the United States of America, the SUV is even more popular than over here on the old continent, with behemoths of the road making the most of any space they can find. But that isn't to say that more traditional body styles are a rare sight. The most popular of all saloons in America is the Toyota Camry, which in 2024 sold over 300,000 examples. Pairing an affordable starting price of $28,500 with frankly good looks and a reputation for reliability, you can see why the Camry is so popular. But what's that coming over the hill?
Hoping to take the fight to the segment's leader is this, the Kia K5, and hitting the shelves from just over $28,000, it's certainly starting out right. The artist, formerly known as the Optima, Kia's mid-size saloon gained its numerical name at the same time as these rather fetching looks. Much like Toyota's benchmark, the K5 features sharp, angular details up front, setting the tone for a handsome little four-door. Towards the rear end, the roofline does begin sloping down rather early, which means that rear passengers of the taller kind might not get the headroom they deserve. Meanwhile, as much as the front end's details make for a strapping design, the rear does feel a bit busy for our liking. With sporty looks also come a larger, more capable engine for the 2025 model year, as from a turbocharged 1.6 the K5 now grows to a 2.5 litre naturally aspirated 4-pot, good for 191 brake horsepower. If performance is what you're after though, the GT model gets a turbo strapped to the same unit for a 100 brake horsepower boost. For everyday driving, however, the regular model will do just fine, especially with its combined 36 miles per gallon. Inside, it's all very Kia, with a collection of inoffensive pieces to an effective puzzle. No, it won't win any design competitions, but it all seems well put together and ergonomically laid out. We would definitely rather buttons over these haptic feedback climate controls, but the steering wheel and stalks get all the features you need, whilst the dual infotainment screens is nice and subtle. As we say, rear headroom isn't class-leading, but doesn't sit too far behind the Camry either. Legroom, on the other hand, is tight, offering over 3 inches less wiggle room for your knees than its Japanese rival.
The Toyota may well marginally be the more spacious of the two inside, but what truly makes it the more practical model is its fuel economy. Powered by a 2.5-litre 4-cylinder and additional hybrid system, every version of the Camry gets 46 miles per gallon. That's 10 more than the Kia. And all that whilst pumping out a further 30 brake horsepower. Jump to the front seats and you realise how Toyota can offer such a strong engine for the same price as Kia's far less impressive unit. The cabin simply looks cheap. Scratchy plastics and outdated design compared with the other 2025 model year cars do show a certain disregard for interior pleasure. That being said, dig beneath the low-cost materials and the interior design seemingly seems unchanged since the turn of the century, and you will notice all the tech you would expect of a modern-day automobile. Dual-zone climate control, heated seats, heated steering wheel, large infotainment screens and plenty of USB ports for charging your phone all help us overlook the Camry's shortcomings and explain its dominance on the market.
Typically higher riding versions of regular low-slung saloons, models like the Porsche Cayenne and BMW X3 that inspired the current SUV craze earned their taller stance with an ability to venture off the beaten track. But in recent years, you'd be increasingly hard-pressed to find an SUV that could actually tackle a bit of mud and sludge. That's where models like this Honda Passport Trailsport come in, now creating their own niche within a niche of a niche, the adventure SUV. For the 2026 model year, the regular city-going Passport may receive a rather unnoticeable facelift, but with that refresh comes its latest trim level. Though with specially tuned suspension, greater ground clearance and specific off-road driving modes, we struggle to equate the Trailsport to a fancy look of paint. In fact, this off-road centric edition sits over 20 centimetres off the ground and should handle rougher terrain better with its exclusive damper and spring rate settings. Oh, and if you do manage to bottom out, thicker metal plates protect your Japanese SUV's vital organs. With its 285 brake horsepower, 3.5-litre six-cylinder engine, the Passport in any variation will tow over 2.2 tonnes, and for comfortable cruising, that unit is paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. Despite getting quite the overhaul internally, there are few changes to the Passport's bodywork as it transitions to Trailsport variant. But fear not, you will stand out with these fancy orange daytime running lights. The 2026 Honda Passport is expected to kick off from around $45,000, with the Trailsport no doubt commanding an additional few thousand. And sadly, no, we will not be getting our hands on this larger US-only model here in the United Kingdom.
As fun as an off-road ready brute can be, sometimes you want the finer things in life, and there's not much finer than a spacious, high-riding luxury SUV costing more than most houses for wafting around your local expensive neighbourhood. Surprisingly enough, the luxury SUV market for those looking to take out a mortgage on a dangerously depreciating asset is just about as competitive as the Econobox world, with something for everyone. Available from as little as £150,000, the Bentley Bentayga represents relative child's play in the hyper-luxurious SUV world. But with a nicely put-together cabin, wide range of engine choices starting out with a hybrid six-cylinder and capping out with a 626 brake horsepower W12, not to mention impressively grand road presence, it is an excellent pick for those first joining the big leagues. If you are a relative newcomer to the top tax bracket but want something with a little more excitement, the £200,000 Lamborghini Urus is just as bold, but in a very different way. Sharp styling, as you'd expect from a Lambo, replaces the Bentley's grandeur with a sense of aggression. Now in facelifted SE specification, the Urus gets almost 800 brake horsepower from a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 with a plug-in hybrid boost. It reaches 62 in just 3.4 seconds and tops out at 193. If that doesn't sound like the punch you need, the Ferrari Purosangue is surely the perfect blend of hyper-luxury and hyper-speed, something the prancing horse has always done well. Up front lies a turboless, hybridless 6.5 V12 sending a stonking 725 ponies to the floor. But unlike the Lamborghini, sportiness doesn't mean a lack of comfort, as hugging bucket seats front and rear, as well as a bright, airy cabin adorned in the best leather, surely warrants the red model's £300,000 starting price.
But in the world of automotive luxury, elegance and exaggeration, there is only one true king of them all, Rolls-Royce. What you're looking at here, wait for it, is the £330,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan in its recently facelifted Series 2 form. Overall, there are no major changes to this newest version over its predecessor, rather a collection of minor tweaks combining for a newer package. Sleeker lights and a simplified front end housing the greater number of self-driving sensors quickly distinguish the Series 2 out on the street. Sadly, whilst getting the same simplistic treatment as the front end, the tail retains the bulbous lines we were never a fan of on the Cullinan's initial version. Luckily, you needn't look at the back too much though, as if you can afford to buy one, you can surely also afford to pay someone to load your shopping. Inside it is all as you would expect from a Rolls-Royce. Gone are the visually displeasing touchscreens found in most modern automobiles, and in their stead are handcrafted timepieces and jewels for a more timeless cockpit. 4 supremely comfortable seats offering more leg and headroom than you could wish for, are adorned in only the fanciest of materials, materials that you as the buyer can select from an endless list of options for the ultimate bespoke cabin. Though if you ever envisage selling the car on, may we suggest not replicating your nan's curtains. Power in the Cullinan comes from a 6 3/4 litre, certainly not 6.75, V12. It would be uncouth to speak of a Rolls-Royce's performance, and so all we will say about the SUV's power is that it offers a smooth and effortless drive. In our opinion, providing little more than the prettier Phantom, we do not think the Cullinan is quite our thing. So if you are going to spend property money on a metal box with wheels, surely that box's 12 cylinders had better sing their hearts out.
Next time on Auto Mundial, the Aston Martin Valkyrie takes to the track.